Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching NDTV. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar just finished his speech in the Lok Sabha, and he said something that the Prime Minister has always believed in, always reiterated: blood and talks won't go together. In fact, terror and talks won't go together. There will only be talks on terror. This is what Dr. S. Jaishankar said. And he also talked about the kind of support that India has been getting from seemingly hostile countries. He talked about his recent visit to Maldives. He also said that the opposition is asking questions that are completely out of context and completely inappropriate. He also said that the people who are blaming China for Galwan and all other enmities with India are the ones who wanted 4G and 5G from India. Now, this was just one of the many speakers today, Dr. S. Jaishankar. Before that, the debate was initiated by Raksha Mantri, Dr. Rajnath Singh. Mr. Rajnath Singh did speak about a method in the madness of terrorism that Pakistan perpetuates. He said that he in fact quoted from the Bhagavad Gita, saying that our ancient scriptures have taught us not just courage but also patience. He said that it is important to understand that India started with peace talks. He talked about that famous Lahore bus yatra that Atal Bihari Vajpayee, our former Prime Minister, undertook, and he said that Pakistan does not understand that language, which is why Operation Sindoor had to be done, Uri had to be done, and of course Balakot had to be done. Now, these were speakers from the BJP side. There was also Jay Panda. There were also other speakers. But remember, there were also many important questions that were asked from the opposition side. In fact, Deepinder Hooda from the Congress party and Gaurav Gogoi, the deputy leader of opposition of the Lok Sabha of the Congress party, asked some very pertinent questions seeking accountability. Deepinder Hooda, in fact, went to an extent of asking how the IMF fund was given to Pakistan and why the victim of terror, India, still has to go to the world to explain the kind of violence that Pakistan perpetuates on us. He in fact spoke about the dehyphenation that really has been destroyed now with what happened in Pulwama. Mr. Gaurav Gogoi also asked questions on responsibility. He in fact asked for some resignations, including that of the Home Minister. More importantly, let's also talk about the kind of questions and the answers that played out in the floor of the House today, with the opposition also changing its goalpost and saying that there is a need to also discuss the special intensive revision of roles that is happening in Bihar, making it clear that Operation Sindoor is not the end of the debate that they seek from the government. But we'll discuss all of that in just a bit. We will be joined by a panel of experts. With me is Satyaprakash Mishra, who is from the JDU. We also have Kapil Madan, who's a supporter of the Congress party. Before we get in our guests, let's also take a look at the face-off that played out on Operation Sindoor in the floor of the House today.
अध्यक्ष महोदय, कभी-कभी हमारे प्रतिपक्ष के लोग ये पूछते रहे हैं कि हमारे कितने विमान गिरे। मुझे लगता है उनका यह प्रश्न हमारी राष्ट्रीय जनभावनाओं का सही से प्रतिनिधित्व नहीं कर रहा है। मुझे लगता है उन्होंने एक बार भी हमसे यह नहीं पूछा कि हमारी सेनाओं ने दुश्मन के कितने विमान मारे गिराए।
क्या ये जरूरी नहीं कि जेट गिरे, पर क्यों गिरे, क्या गलतियां हुई, वो महत्वपूर्ण है। संख्या महत्वपूर्ण नहीं। सर, 35 ही राफेल है देश में, 35 ही राफेल है। अगर उनमें से कुछ गिरे भी तो देखिए सर, मुझे तो लगता है कि बहुत बड़ी क्षति हुई।
Okay, we are also joined by Jayanto Ghoshal, who's a consulting editor with NDTV. We are also joined by Ganesh Naik, who's an MP of the Congress party. We have A. Saravanan of the DMK. Thank you, all of you. And also Rakesh Sinha, who's an ex-MP, former MP from the BJP. Thank you, all of you, for joining us. Mr. Mishra, to you first. You belong to the JDU. It's the opposition's job to ask questions. Sometimes do we also indulge in this reduction of anti-India, pro-India debate? What's wrong in answering questions?
There is no wrong in answering question, but question must have a kind of head. These questions opposition raising has no head basically. You know what they are raising? Have you surrendered? They are well aware that the foreign secretary, foreign ministers and DGMO, everyone, in detail told the media some time back when the Operation Sindoor was in halt, but they never understood that Okay, now the discussion is going in Parliament. Rajnath Singh ji has responded every kind of questions opposition had any kind of doubt regarding the surrender and anything like that. What Rajnath Singh ji importantly said, that the strategic position of India has changed during this Operation Sindoor, because now India believes if any attack carried out by any terrorist organization, India will take the attack on India. And the second most important point, what he told the House, opposition party must understand unity of India must be there. Today they are discussing, but the message should be gone to entire world, must be gone.
So that's an
India
important,
is taking tough stand against terrorism, and it is not going to tolerate. Around 50 members of parliament went different countries to convey the same message. Why opposition parties are not agree with that? Why opposition party
so
is
opposition
just trying
parties
to
are saying
divert?
that there were no joint conferences, press conferences in most of these countries. Kapil Madan, but Dr. S. Jaishankar has responded to these criticisms. In fact, he quoted from several portals and important foreign policy review magazines and also official statements from Vladimir Putin to the Prime Minister of Paraguay. He has said that everybody has condemned Pahalgam and in fact also supported India when it comes to Operation Sindoor. So is there a sense that the opposition is trying to create, these questions only to corner the government, something that the government seems to be completely prepared for?
No, Vasudha, if you look at the entire debate that has happened, I think it is very safe to say that the government is trying to use misinformation as a strategy, and I'll give you specific instance why I make this observation. You may recall when this incident happened, there were reports which has not been denied by the government that there were security intelligence that something is likely to happen, and therefore the Prime Minister's visit to JNK was cancelled. Once you have a specific intelligence and input and you are not able to prevent that kind of an incident, the first question is forget Pakistan. The first question is that, while you want to create all this hysteria about Pakistan, blaming Pakistan, supporting Pakistan, the first question is on the accountability. If 4 individuals with that kind of weapon came about 200 kilometers inside our country, and not to forget, they also, evaded after committing this gruesome act, and we have admittedly soldiers in several thousand and maybe in few lakhs in JNK guarding the area. So my first question is that why is the government not talking about what went wrong which led to this incident? And this is not the first time that has happened.
But Kapil, today
hold on. Just hold on.
They have actually killed 2 people, right?
Hold on. So let me tell you, in Pulwama also, we lost our soldiers, and today, can you tell whether a charge sheet has been filed in that case? Can you tell whether the accused has been arrested in that case? Can you tell? No, just a minute, Vasudha.
Yeah.
No, Vasudha. We don't know. The fact is, we don't know. It's not there in the media. You don't know.
Okay.
The government doesn't know.
Okay, that's a fair question, Kapil. I'll just come back to you.
The point I'm trying to make here is, and what has been our government response. Now, what you're trying to do is, you're trying to confuse 2 different things, and you are trying to give a completely misinformed and a concocted version for consumption
Rakesh
of our
Sinha
people.
here. Rakesh Sinha, the Congress especially today has been saying that the government is not giving a complete picture. It is seeking details on investigation. It is also seeking details on what really went wrong when it comes to Pahalgam. Was there an intel failure? They also quoted from Lieutenant General Rahul Singh to LG of JNK Manoj Sinha. Is there something that the government needs to do more to reassure the opposition?
The Congress party is trying to create a Pandora box. It lacks the vision about the Pakistan policy, and I can tell you that in the independent India, for the first time, there has been very categorical, unambiguous Pakistan policy formulated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. That is the reason that India, without getting isolated and taking the moral support of the world community on the question of terrorism, declared that this war is not a war against any country. This war is against terrorism. This war is not for a geography. This war is not for the seat of power. This war is not for economic gain. This war is to create peace and harmony in the world community, and the Operation Sindoor has a wider ramification. That is the reason when 7 committees a multi-party committee. Narendra Modi ji formed a multi-party committee. All party members, and the CPM members, Congress party members, all party members were the part of the committee. They visited 33 countries. The kind of welcome and kind of the gestures of these countries, they showed that India garnered a great support in its foreign policy. Second important thing that I am asking the Congress party, they don't have the moral. In 1970, during the 1971 war, when the parliament session was going on, the Kissinger, the advisor of the President Nixon, visited India and the parliament was not informed. There was a question by Phul Chand Barma from Ujjain, member of parliament of Ujjain. He asked, when parliament is in session, Kissinger is visiting this country, why didn't you inform the parliament? Why you have disguised the visit of Kissinger? Another question was asked. That is very important here for the moral of the Congress party is taking high moral. I am asking the Congress party, when Kissinger was here, the member asked, why didn't you ask to visit the refugees camp? Those who came
these
from
are the important
Bangladesh
questions that probably the Congress party will have to answer. But now it's the government that is asked to answer a few questions. Mr. Sinha, I'll come back to you. Lieutenant General Satish Dua is also with us. Mr. Dua, how do you look at this debate that played out in the parliament today? Because these are national security matters. There was also an encounter today in which two people who are associated with the Pahalgam terror attack were also killed. How do you see all of this? And the fact that Rajnath Singh also said that Pakistan uses terrorism as a tool, as a political tool, weaponizes it. How do you see this?
Vasudha, that Pakistan uses terrorism as an instrument of state policy is well known. And India has been fighting against it militarily, diplomatically, politically, and in every forum. As to the debate, I'll try to steer clear of any politics. When Operation Sindoor was taking place, as a soldier, I felt it was very heartening for me to see that all opposition parties, everyone united behind the cause, and everyone supported the armed forces and all other instruments of power. Thereafter, when the delegations went out to seven delegations went out to different countries, opposition, allies, government, all the parties comprised of it, and everyone delivered a very effective message to 33 countries. When today debate takes place, I know there should be a parliamentary debate. There should be debate in parliament. This is the first session after the Operation Sindoor. It was such a decisive and operation that in less than 4 days, we imposed our will on Pakistan and they asked us for ceasefire. Remember, in 71, it took us 14 days to get them to the ceasefire. So, debate should take place. But and the government should answer. But the point is to sort of question things. Some of these things are very low. To question whether this actually took place, that breaks the morale of the armed forces. To try and do a bean count, how many fighters had fallen. This operation is still ongoing. To my mind, bean count is not very important. Outcomes are, and that is something that we have very decisively shown the world and proven it to the country, and that should
that's a very good point that you made. In fact, Rajnath Singh said that in every examination, it is the outcome that matters, and you cannot ask a student who has scored full marks, why did your pencils nib a break? But to be fair to the opposition, Lieutenant General Dua, today I did notice that they didn't ask about how many jets were down. They said that it was important to discuss why did they go down. Jyotsna Tirunagari of the TDP also joins us now. Before that, let me go to Jayanto Ghoshal. And of course, Saravanan Annadurai is also with us. Jayanto Ghoshal, sir, as a journalist, as an analyst, how did you see the debate that played out today? You've seen many debates like this in the past. Did you expect it to be more fierce? And did you expect the opposition to be asking these questions? Was there a shift in the way they raised questions? Was there a shift in the way the government projected its confidence with respect to Operation Sindoor?
Yeah, Vasudha, first of all, we should not analyze Operation Sindoor in the political party prism. It is not BJP's Operation Sindoor, or it is not opposition party's Operation Sindoor. It is our country's foreign policy, and Narendra Modi is the Mukhia of that government, and I think this is a major success we have achieved. And opposition also supported Operation Sindoor when the several opposition members visited the abroad. But one thing, this intelligence failure is nothing new in our country, globally also. 2611, intelligence failure. Parliament attack, intelligence failure. 2611. That time Narendra Modi was not prime minister. Intelligence failure was there. So intelligence failure after Kargil, Subramaniam committee formed. There are 4 task forces on that. And now on Operation Sindoor, after this major achievement, we are happy and we are respectful to the Indian foreign policy. Once Pranab Mukherjee as foreign minister told me that we are very happy, we have a heritage of consensus on foreign policy. Communists usually contradicted the
Right.
anti-Americanism, but after globalization, that also neutralized. There is a major change. And now Jayashankar's foreign policy is an
Right.
Indian foreign policy, Modi's foreign policy. This is number one. And number two, Vasudha, this is just only one point, that on this Operation Sindoor, Modi ji has that courage to start it. And why he stopped, that opposition
Right.
is saying, why they have withdrawn. There should be a Lakshman Rekha, there should be a do's and don'ts on the war diplomacy also. Because international pressure, always it is
Okay.
there. On Kargil also it was there, on all operations. But you have to know
Right.
when we should stop on the economics and the other effects, we should understand. So I think opposition, it is better
Okay.
to wait.
That's
for
a very
the
important point, Mr.
results
Kushal.
of
Let me
the
get in Mr.
intelligence
Naik here.
failure.
Yeah,
There,
Mr. Naik.
there are several issues of the opposition.
Right, Mr. Naik, Jayanto
But we
Ghoshal,
should keep
right.
Operation Sindoor
Jayanto
for
Ghoshal made a
our
very important
nationalism.
point here that there needs to be a Lakshman Rekha, there needs to be a red line as to what one can expect, because global diplomacy is sometimes often out of reach, and this is something that every ruling party in the government would face. Do you think that the Congress party would have also needed to understand that there could be pressures, but the fact that the party did ask a lot of questions and the government is answering them, does that mean that finally there's a cordial sense of dialogue between the two sides?
No, it was always a cordial kind of a discussion that the Congress party wanted. In fact, our idea is to get the information from out of the government and place it before the people of this country. No, it is not that we want to put down the India's response to Pahalgam attack, or that our foreign policy success and failures. So we want to support the government fully. We did support the government fully. We did support the armed forces fully during the operations. It is now time to understand what went right and what went wrong. This kind of a questioning, I think the government should have the gumption to receive and answer it properly. It's very good that this kind of a discussion is taking place today in the Parliament. You could see the lead speaker from the Congress raise very, very pertinent points. He did talk about the information warfare outside, information warfare inside. In fact, the important disinformation was that to project opposition and the Congress party as not having sufficient nationalism or not being sufficiently nationalistic in our approach. That's the most unfortunate thing. So this is being dismantled today. It is for everybody to see that the opposition is with the government and with the armed forces as far as the rebuttal of the
we also have TDP MP Lavu Krishna Devarailu, who's also the TDP's parliamentary floor leader in the Lok Sabha, joining us. Yes. Lavu Krishna Devarailu of the TDP joins us. He's an MP who also spoke today. He's also the TDP's parliamentary floor leader. Thank you, Krishna, for joining us on a day like this. It was a big day for both sides. And in fact, I was listening to your speech where you really focused on Pahalgam killings, which was the reason why Operation Sindoor took place. In fact, you said that it was not just killings or murder, it was a slaughter of human beings. And the fact that you had gone to Kashmir just few days before Pahalgam, you saw what was before that and what really happened after that. Explain to us, what are the big points that you made and what are your expectations from this debate?
Vasudha, the important thing about this debate is that citizens of this country need to know what has happened in Operation Sindoor and also what led to Operation Sindoor. We have gone outside India as a part of delegation. We explained to every world leader across almost 32 countries, explained why we have done Operation Sindoor, what led to Operation Sindoor. Again, there are some questions that has been raised by the opposition party regarding Operation Sindoor and Pahalgam. And obviously, as a coalition in power, we are there to answer them, and we did answer them. The main issues that we have raised are most importantly with regards to how this has taken India in a different direction with regards to the Operation Sindoor. We are giving very strong message to the world and every country across the globe that this is going to be India's response in future also if there is any terror activity that has happened. But instead of asking the government questions around this, the opposition is actually going in every other direction rather than coming to any sort of reasonable questions. And the other thing that we have mentioned with regards to, in the parliament is with regards to the putting again Pakistan on FATF list. It has been done when during the Modi's time only from 2018 to 24. Again, because of COVID or some other reason, it has been taken out. But now we asked the government to work towards putting Pakistan on FATF list. And the second thing after FATF list was with regards to making sure that whatever with regards to the Pakistan that we are trying to do, make sure in the World Forum they are isolated as much as possible. And also with regards to the investment in our defense technology, also we are asking the government to actually invest as much as possible in the defense technology. Also, these are the 2-3 asks that we mentioned on the floor of the House.
Okay.
And most importantly,
Krishna, my last question to you: a lot of opposition leaders.
Most importantly, we asked about making sure that we have moved 30 years back in United Nations with regards to the definition of terrorism. And the government needs to work towards that, making sure that this definition of terrorism has actually evolved so that in the future, whichever country is going to foster terror, finance terror, can be cornered, like what we like countries like Pakistan can be cornered because they have been doing that for so many years. And these are the 2-3 points that we mentioned in there.
Absolutely. Krishna, before I let you go, last question before I go to Saravanan also. Krishna, a lot of opposition MPs also spoke about the multi-party delegations, and they said that, in fact, they alleged that this is a failure on part of India's foreign diplomacy, that many of these countries did not have a joint statement that came out when these multi-party delegations went to their countries. In fact, they also said that they were not even received properly. Can you clear the air? Because you were one of those who traveled to different countries. In fact, you went to Qatar, you went to Ethiopia, you went to South Africa and also Egypt. These are very important countries. What would you have to say about this allegation that the opposition has raised, that India does not have the kind of support from the global community as it should?
Absolutely baseless. This allegation is absolutely baseless because wherever we went, whichever country we went, everyone welcomed us, and they welcomed us with solidarity. They understood India's stand, why we are taking the action with regards to the Operation Sindoor. They understood where India stands with regards to we as a country, we are a thriving democracy. As a country, we have make sure that non-violence as an idea has been propagated across the world. We are a country which exported teachers, we exported technology, we exported trust. That is what we stood for, and they all know, whichever country we went, all the delegations went, they all know what Pakistan stands for. They harbor terrorists. They give asylum to Osama bin Laden. They run terrorist camps. They send terrorists across the border. Every terrorist activity that happens across the globe, there is a Pakistani fingerprint that can be seen. So whichever country we went, they welcomed us. They understand India's. They respect India because as a country, we have done so much for the global south, not only global south, but as a historically also we have done so much with these countries. So whatever the opposition is trying to put across, this is absolutely baseless. We got a good welcome, and if you see the most of the delegations which are led by the opposition parties, it's 3 or 4 of them are led by the opposition. If you see their response, if you see their comments, if you see their tweets, as Jaishankar ji has just mentioned, they also collaborate with whatever I say. So I don't know where these sort of observations are coming from.
Right. Thank you, Krishna. Lavu Krishna Devarailu of the TDP joining us now. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Sarvanan, thank you so much for waiting. Where does the DMK stand on the Operation Sindoor debate? Because I think that for all opposition parties, there is a certain sense of dilemma because you cannot be seen as questioning the armed forces, which nobody is at this point of time, but also to ask the right questions without seeming anti-armed forces. Is that a tightrope to walk on?
See, not at all. There is no dilemma at all. There are difference between what the armed forces have done and what the government is doing. The biggest question still remains unanswered is, why did this happen? No answers. Who is responsible for this? No answers. And the gentleman who spoke earlier said intelligence failure happens all the time. When it happened in 2611 in Mumbai, Mr. Narendra Modi was there giving press meets against the government. He did not speak against the army. Then there was no dilemma. Nobody said, oh, Mr. Narendra Modi is speaking against the army who are trying to flush out the terrorists there. And now suddenly when you question the BJP government for their failures and you are questioning the army, there is a clear difference between questioning the government and questioning the army. See, every information has to be there on the public domain. And there is an utter failure of foreign policy. Whoever is saying that, oh, we welcomed, we were given a warm welcome, that let them not mix up hospitality with what the Indian government's foreign policy is. Hospitality is different from our objectives. What is our objective? Our objective is to ensure that the Pakistan does not get the support of the international community. Were we happy? Were we able to achieve that? We were not able to achieve that. IMF loaned so much of money. All the American government is still supporting Pakistan. And to rub salt into the wound, Mr. Donald Trump, 26 times he has said that he only mediated between India and Pakistan. And it is because of him there was a ceasefire. And he announced the ceasefire. There are no answers about that. If there is, see, we have seen all the departments. This is an incompetent government, and the biggest incompetence is in the foreign department. Foreign policy is utter failure. We don't have any friends who will support us through and through.
Okay, Dr. Josna, would you like to respond to that? Because not just Sarvanan, a lot of opposition parties are asking this question. If Pakistan really pleaded for ceasefire, then why did we sort of agree to it? And the fact that were there any conditions that were laid down? Of course, Dr. S. Jaishankar talked about Donald Trump's comments and he said that there was nobody involved. In fact, he also talked about J.D. Vance calling the Prime Minister and talking about this possible attack from Pakistan, which also happened. Dr. S. Jaishankar said that it was foiled by Indian armed forces. And this is when there were disruptions in the House, the opposition parties were also told by Amit Shah, the Home Minister, that it is important to believe what our own foreign minister is saying and not really what Donald Trump is saying. Jyotsna, this is about clash of narratives. The opposition has a right to ask questions. The government has to answer them. How do you see this?
Vasudha, absolutely. I'm not denying the point that the opposition has the right to ask, and we should be, as a government, we should be able to answer that. It's our responsibility. There is no doubt about it. But Vasudha, I think there is also a very thin line there. And for all of us, each one of the citizen of India, national security, I don't think, Vasudha, it isn't a reality show, I believe. Do you believe it, Vasudha? It isn't a reality show for somebody's entertainment. Here we are speaking of our armed security forces, our defense minister, our external affairs minister, explain in the house, saying that this is what has been done and we are going by this way, first and foremost. And yes, I think we have very clearly given an information as how precision strikes were done and how they have targeted the terrorist sites, neutralizing over 100 terrorists and all these details. Again, the technicalities were all given. But my point is, Operation Sindoor, the success or failure is given by the armed forces. Vasudha, it's not given by the opposition parties or anything like that.
Okay, let me take a quick response from Sarvanan.
One second.
National security is not reality TV.
One second.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
One second.
Everybody can speak.
Let me complete.
Yes. Let Josna finish. Sarvanan, I'll come to you. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please go on.
Why did I say that, Vasudha? Because what is happening is, here the armed forces are explaining because they have given very clear very clear indication, very clear numbers, very clear facts as to what has happened and what has been happening in Operation Sindoor. Again, the External Affairs Minister has given the information, Defense Minister has given the information. Till these people come out in the floor of the House, they say that, no, Donald Trump ne bola hai, we believe him. And somebody else ne bola hai, we believe him.
Okay,
So
Saravanan,
they are just doing it for the
Saravanan, please
sake of
respond to that.
mockery.
Yeah. See, we don't want
Yes.
to believe Donald Trump. Why don't you have the
Saravanan.
courage to question him? Why don't you have the courage to say on the face of Donald Trump, no, we don't believe you, sir. Stop speaking lies. Who is preventing you? Because you have
Yes, sir.
surrendered. You have surrendered the entire foreign
let me
policy to the whims
answer.
of America. That is the
Let me
problem
answer,
here.
sir.
And the
Sir, let
business
me
interest.
answer.
Okay, Jyotsna, would you like to respond? Yeah,
Adani
please
and
respond.
Ambani
Yes,
dictate
Jyotsna,
foreign
yes.
policy.
Sir,
That is your
let me
problem.
answer.
That
We
is
have to
the
give the
problem
last
here.
word to
Let me
Jayanto
answer.
Ghoshal.
Let me answer.
Jayanto Ghoshal.
Let me
Yeah,
answer.
Jayanto Ghoshal.
Only two things. Basudha,
Okay,
only two
okay.
points. Basudha, only 2 points. Number
Let
one,
let Jayanto Ghoshal respond. I'll come to Jyotsna. Yeah. Yes, sir.
just 2 points. Very
Mr.
quickly.
Ghoshal, yes,
Very 2
Mr.
points.
Ghoshal.
To respectable DMK member, I have only one very vinamrata के साथ बोल रहा हूँ. After Perambadur incident, nobody discussed what was the intelligence failure. It was an internal issue, and internally government took action. Why it failed, why and how. But it was a very important, like Professor Jyotsna, I completely agree. It's not a reality show. So it's a very serious issue, and Operation Sindoor, who said that government is not at all inquiring the intelligence failure, the right time, everything like Kargil, there was a committee and all the committee reports are now, everybody can go through. And number two, this, like Sri Perambadur incident, I just want to say that, on Trump also, issue that before Operation Sindoor, Vice President came, and we know the communication, it is printed that how Modi ji and Jaishankar ji was there. The conversation was there, and they completely said that we have to go, and they tried to stop it before the operation. So who said that Trump stopped, we are surrendered to US? I think we should follow our external affairs briefing also before accepting the White House briefing.
Okay,
I think
Jyotsna, quickly. Yeah, Jyotsna, quickly. Yeah, Jyotsna.
Vasudha,
Yes,
very
Jyotsna,
clearly,
quickly.
very clearly, our ministers have been very categorically, strongly, assertively saying that there is no involvement of any other party. Isn't it the answer to the other person? Or you want, I don't know, what is, sir, come on, sir, you want to believe Trump, you can always believe him.
We are not believing Trump. We are not believing Trump. But we are asking, why are you not courageous enough? We are asking, why are you not courageous enough to stand up to Trump? Is that because of Adani?
Sir, we have announced it in the floor of
Okay,
the
Mr.
House.
Saravanan, quickly.
Only
Mr.
now.
Saravanan, quickly.
Only now.
Yeah.
You are saying it
Come
now.
on, sir.
This the narrative of Mr. Trump was unchallenged for almost a month.
Sir,
26
I believe
times.
my armed
Every
forces,
possible
sir.
opportunity,
Sir, I
he said
believe my
that.
armed forces. Sir, I believe my armed forces.
This is not
rather
about
than
armed
anybody
forces.
else.
This
It
is about the
armed
government.
forces, sir.
This is not
It
about
is
armed forces.
sir.
This is not
It
about
is
armed
about
forces. This is
They
about
are
the
ones
failure
who
of
are
the
there. You and me
foreign
are not
policy.
there, sir.
This is
They are
about
the ones who are
failure
there
of
on
the
the
foreign
ground,
Okay, so
minister.
this is clearly a clash of narratives. Thank you, Jyotsna
Prime
Tirunagari. Thank you, Saravanan, for speaking to us. Also, Jayanto Ghoshal and Mr. Ganesh Naik for joining us on a day like this. Clearly, a fierce contest there that played out in the Lok Sabha with lots of questions that were asked, seeking accountability and lots of answers from a government that said that its armed forces did everything that was possible to keep this country safe and also question the perpetrators of violence. With that, it's time for a short break. More news and updates on the other side. Welcome back. We come to you from right outside the Parliament. And we chose this location, this venue today because this building right behind me witnessed a historic debate today with the ruling party MPs clashing with the opposition MPs, not in action but in thought and in speeches on what they thought of Operation Sindoor. The government giving some very difficult answers there, but also comprehensive answers on the accusations that were raised by the opposition parties. In fact, the debate was started by Rajnath Singh, the Raksha Mantri, and he said said that the whole intent behind Operation Sindoor was not to start a war or a conflict, but send out a message of new normal. And Jaishankar, the External Affairs Minister, also spoke, and he said that blood and water don't flow along. In fact, terror and talks will not happen together. Talks will happen only on terror. That's what he said. While Rajnath Singh gave an outline of the military doctrine of Operation Sindoor, it was Dr. S. Jaishankar who highlighted the global diplomatic efforts that were initiated by India. Apart from sending out multi-party delegations, he in fact spoke about the kind of support that India has received from various countries on Operation Sindoor, being a retaliation, being a move of seeking retribution, something that is important for self-defense. He said that the country acted in self-defense, and that was important to understand. He said that the success of India's global policy was also in the fact that many hostile countries have fallen in line. That's what he said. And while he was speaking, we also saw disruptions from the opposition side, and this was specifically with regard to the comments that he clarified on Donald Trump's claims that he facilitated the ceasefire. Mr. Jaishankar also said that that was not true. In fact, it was J.D. Vance who spoke to Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the 9th and 10th of May, warned him against an attack by Pakistan. The attack did happen, but our armed forces foiled the attack, and the decision to have a ceasefire was completely bilateral because the DGMO of Pakistan pleaded for it. And of course, this was also talked about by Raksha Mantri. Opposition members raised questions on what conditions were agreed upon by Pakistan for the ceasefire. They also asked questions on why IMF funding is still being given to Pakistan. They also questioned the intelligence failure that happened in Pahalgam, and also what was being done to ensure that the country is safe. Let's first look at the highlight of the show. Home Minister Amit Shah intervening when the opposition caused disruptions while Dr. S. Jaishankar was speaking. Mr. Amit Shah said that it was important to believe in one's own foreign minister rather than go by global narratives.
देश मंत्री यहाँ स्टेटमेंट कर रहा है, उस पर भरोसा नहीं है, उनको किसी और देश पर भरोसा है। मैं समझ सकता हूँ उनकी पार्टी में विदेश का महत्व क्या है, मगर इसका मतलब ये तो नहीं है पार्टी की सारी चीजें यहाँ सदन में आकर थोपे। भारत के विदेश मंत्री पर भरोसा नहीं करोगे? ओथ लिया हुआ व्यक्ति यहाँ पर बोल रहा है, ही इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल। माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, इसीलिए ये वहां बैठे हैं और 20 साल तक वहीं बैठने वाले। उनके स्पीकर जब बोल रहे थे, हम पूरे धैर्य से सुने। मैं बताऊंगा कितनी असत्य बातें बोली गई कल, परंतु फिर भी असत्य को भी हम हलाहल समझकर पी गए। अब ये सत्य भी नहीं सुन पाते हैं।